Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us coming here to learn the language of the noble Quran. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make a sadqa jariyah for our parents and make our children sadqa jariyah for us. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to learn the language of the noble Quran and then teach others. I welcome you, my respected sisters, to today's class. I hope everybody is doing well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase you all in knowledge. Ameen ya Rab. So as usual, we're going to start the class inshallah very soon. Please let me know in the feedback, in the chat window if the audio is okay, and we'll start the class inshallah. Alhamdulillah, this is good then. Alhamdulillah, everybody is able to hear clearly. So we'll start the class now, inshallah. Bismillah. Today we will continue with our previous lesson. Lesson number 14 is the lesson, and the chapter is 14b. So we'll continue with the recap. What we done last time was we studied the lesson number 14th lesson, Dasul Rabi Ashir. And it was about, if you remember, it was about Amr, Fi'lu Amr, imperative or command verb. So we have seen how it looks like and how do we make command from Mudari, and you know it is made from Mudari. So we've done all of this last time. We'll try to have a quick word about it before we start our lesson, inshallah. So this is what it is. Fail Amr is made from Fail Mudari. We all know the meaning of Fail Amr is to give command, to give instruction to somebody. How do you make it? You make it from Failul Mudari. So there are only 6 forms of Failul Amr. There are only 6 forms of giving somebody a command. You can't give a command to huwa or huma or hum or hiya or huma or hunna or ana or nahnu, because first 6 are not in front of you, they're ghaib, and last 2 are yourself or yourself included in nahnu. You can though say things which makes it like a command or makes it like a should, but that is a different thing. We'll study that later on, inshallah. Right now what we are doing is, what we are understanding is how to issue a command, how to instruct somebody, or how to request somebody who is in front of you. So these 6 verb forms are in front of you. Anta, you one male. Antuma, you 2 males. Antum, you many males. Anti, you one female. Antuma, you 2 females. Antunna, you many females. So you see, you is being used in all of these words. Whereas these ones we say he, or they 2, or they all, or she, or they 2 female, or they all females. For ana we say I, or me, or nahnu is we, or a dual is also included here. So this amr, failu amr, conjugation of which we have seen before, and we are going to have a quick recap, is only about these 6 sayagha. Sayagha is the form, shakal of the verb. So what do? We make it from fail mudari. So we know, alhamdulillah, how Mudari looks like, how Madi looks like, what are the definitions. So here we have a Mudari. What do? We simply remove the ta. Let's look at the first one, for example. What do? Taf'alu, we remove the harful Mudari, we remove the ta, right? We are left with fa, ayn, and lam. And the lam here we can see has got a dhamma. So this dhamma will be transferred into sukoon. So it will be a sukoon there, right? But we have seen that before. And we know the whole drill, that how Hamzatul Wasl will come, what haraka Hamzatul Wasl will take. Obviously, it is according to the Ain Karim of the Mudare. So the final result will be this. Tafa'alu was your Mudare, and when you will make Amr, your Ta will be gone. Lam which is Dhamma, that will turn into Sukun, and Hamzatul Wasl will be added. Hamzatul Wasl will be added because when you remove the Ta, you are left with the Fa Kalim, Fa, letter Fa, not Fa Kalima here, I'll not say anything. This Fa, which is the beginning of the verb now, which is the beginning of the verb, and this has got alif, this has got sukoon on it, so you cannot pronounce it. So hence we bring Hamzatul Wasl so we can pronounce the whole verb. So if'ala. So this was the first one where Dhamma was changed into sukoon, right? Because all of these are marfu, except for this one. except for this antunna and hunna. These two are mabni. As we know, in fi'l mudare, all verbs are marfu except for these two. So for them too, these signs do not change. The noon will stay where it is. However, for other 12, we have seen that these ones, huwa, hiya, anta, ana, nahnu, these five have got harful mudare prefix to that, and in the end there's the dhamma coming showing marfu. If it was mansoob, we make it yaf'ala, taf'ala, taf'ala, af'ala, naf'ala, lam will get a fatha. If the lam will come, lam is from huruful jazima. Lam makes the word majzoom. Majzoom means give it sukoon in the context of what we are studying, the first one here. So so we will have sukoon. But if we have to make this one majzoom, for example, if you bring the lam before taf'ala, what's going to happen? Noon will be dropped. So we know that the dropping of noon is the sign of mansoob or majzoom, right? Depending on what is coming before that, and hence we'll be able to recognize that this noon has been dropped from taf'ala. For example, if it is dropped from here, taf'ala, so we will know that noon is dropped because maybe there's a lan, maybe there's a lam. But this was for lan and lam, which we studied on Telegram before. Here we are on the topic of fail amr. Fail amr, what happened is ta is already gone, right? We are left with fa, ain, lam, alif, and noon. And then we will drop the noon. Why we will drop the noon? Because in these af'alul khamsa, what are af'alul khamsa? All those verbs, please sisters pay attention, all those verbs which ends with alif noon, waw noon, or ya noon are called af'alul khamsa. So when af'alul khamsa, what is the sign of marfu in af'alul khamsa? The presence of noon. Thubuti noon is the sign of marfu. What is the sign of mansoob and majroor? Simply the deletion of the noon. As you can see, it's crossed out. So what will happen in our amr? Ta is already gone because this is what the formula is, that you delete the harful mudare and you delete noon as well to make it majzoom. So the result is if'ala. Same thing was happening, it has happened to taf'aluna, it became if'alu. Same thing has happened to anti taf'alina. You remove the ta, you are left with fa, ain, lam, ya, and noon, and then you eventually remove noon as well. Why? Because amr is mabni. Amr is mabni. So you have to take the noon out from here. Yeah, you have to make it majzoom. So it has to be gone. So you will delete the noon. The result will be if'ali. For the dual, it will be the same thing which was here. If'ala, if'ala. What will happen to antunna? You all females, simply according to the formula of making fail amr, we will remove the ta. Ta will be gone. But there is no harakatul i'rab. Like the previous ones, noon was showing marfu. An absence of noon shows mansoob and majzoom. But here, antunna, it is mabni. So when it is mabni, then there's nothing here present which we can move, which we can remove. So it will stay there. It will still stay there. Fa, ain, lam, and noon. We'll simply bring in hamzatul wasl because now fa has got a sukoon. So we need to have something before that so we can pronounce that word. So we'll say if'alna, if'al, right? I hope it is clear. You've done it many, many times. And I think in the exercise as well, you've done it. So here is kind of a test for you. I'm sure your homework, you were very keen and you were very hardworking in your homework. And if you've done it well, then all of this is, you already know that. There's really no surprise coming. So from form or make the imperative verbs from the following verbs. Al-Madi, Al-Mudari, and Al-Am. So qatala yaqtulu. You have to make amr for that. I think you have done enough practice on your own as well of bringing hamzatul wasl, removing the first letter. So there is really nothing for me to ask here. I just want to know how will you pronounce it. But all I'm interested in knowing is what will be the haraka on hamzatul wasl here. Qatala yaqtulu. What do you think? Uqtul, aqtal, iqtul. What is going to be, sisters? If you think it's going to be uqtul, press 1. Hamzatul wasl with dhamma. If you think it's going to be something else, then press 2, please. Very good. Uqtul. Why? Because what is ain kalima? Ain kalima has got dhamma. Qaf ta lam. Ain kalima has got what? Dhamma. So hamzatul wasl will also get dhamma. Here, dhahaba, yes, it's very simple. You don't need to know anything here because everything is available. You can see that because you know once you will remove this ya, then you have ain kalima which has got a fatha. So what is going to be Hamzatul Wasl, haraka on Hamzatul Wasl? Izhab, izhab. One more thing. Up to this point, we are doing the verbs where once you remove the harful mudare, the second letter is without haraka. So all are bisukun. So in all of these verbs, you have to add Hamzatul Wasl. There are verbs where you don't need Hamzatul Wasl because Ain Kalima will have a haraka. If there's a haraka, vowel sign is there, then you don't need Hamzatul Wasl to come up with a vowel sign and you pronounce it. But those verbs are not yet discussed here, so you don't have to worry about it. Here, only question left is Hamzatul Wasl. What will be the haraka of Hamzatul Wasl? Jalasa yajlisu. What do you think, sisters? Hamzatul Wasl will get kasra or fatha, ijlis or ijlas. This is important for us to remember that. Ijlis or ijlas. If you think ijlis, press 1. If you think ijlas, press 2. Very good. It's going to be ijlis because it can never be ajlis. Hamzatul Wasl will never have fatha. In fail amr, it will have either dhamma or it will have kasra. Only 2 choices you have to pick from. There's no 3 choices, and hence very easy. For dhamma, if Ain Kalima has got a dhamma, then Hamzatul Wasl is straight away dhamma. I don't even need to think about it, right? Only cases when there is a kasra on the Ain Kalima, then you know it's going to be kasra on Hamzatul Wasl. Only difference is when there's a fatha, even then you will have kasra on Hamzatul Wasl. So, yafhamu, ifham, yahfadu, ihfad, yasjudu. What is going to be Hamzatul Wasl, sisters? Look, Ain Kalima has got Jim. Ain Kalima has got Jim. Usjud, usjud, yarka'u. Can I say arka'u? Who thinks I can say arka'u? Because Ain Kalima has got a fatha. If you think I can say Hamzatul Wasl with fatha here, press 1. If you think I should say with kasra, press 2. We cannot have dhamma here because for dhamma we need to have dhamma in the verb here on the Ain Kalima. So there's no dhamma here. So this is out of the question. I hope after this exercise, inshallah, you'll become very strong. So what will happen, sisters? Hamzatul Wasl will have a fatha or kasra here. Yarka'u, it will have a kasra. It will have a kasra because it can never have fatha, irrespective of whether Ain Kalima has got a fatha or kasra. Yashkuru, ushkur, sami'a yasma'u, isma', rafa'a yarfa'u, irfa', darasa yadrusu, udrus, alima ya'lamu, i'lam, shariba yashrabu, ishrab, halaqa yahliqu, ihlaq, kasara yaksiru, iksir, ghasala yaghsilu, ighsil, ighsil. Isn't this, sisters? Here is the formula given on the left-hand side, right? I hope everything is clear. I don't need to really go over and over and over again the same thing we have done last time. We don't want to repeat this today as well because we have new content to move on to. Few more examples. Tabakha yatbukhu. What is going to be the haraka on Hamzatul Wasl? We know Hamzatul how fi'l al-amr is made like that. You want to do it once more? Who thinks we should do one more example how to make fi'l al-amr before we continue with this exercise? If you think we should do one more time, please press 1. If you think it's okay, you understood all well, and you don't need this to be done again, that how we make fail amr from fail mudare, then please press 2. 1, if you want to see one more example of how to do. 2, if you think you know good enough, alhamdulillah, and you don't need any more repetition of this concept. Chat window, sisters, please write in chat window. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. You don't need repetition, right? Most of us don't need repetition, but maybe few of us need it. So let's quickly do that. Tabakha yatubukhu. Tabakha is an act of cooking, to cook, right? This is the action to cook. We make mudare from the amr. Sorry, amr from the mudare, right? We make fail amr imperative verb from present tense verb. This is we understand. But we will not make amr from yatbukhu because yatbukhu means he is cooking. We're not concerned about he. In this chapter of imperative, we are only concerned with you are cooking. You, because the person present in front of you, you are going to issue command to them. You're going to request to them. So yatbukhu will automatically be out. We'll be looking at tatbukhu. Tatbukhu is the word we are looking for. So if you have tatbukhu, what you're going to do is, let's say instead of tadhabu, you have tatbukhu. So you will remove the ta. You are left with ta, ba, and kha instead of zal, ha, and ba. Now your ba, your kha has got a dhamma here. So in step 2, we remove dhamma into sukoon. So this has become ta with the sukoon, ba with the dhamma, kha with the sukoon, right? Ta with the sukoon, ba with the dhamma, as we can see, in kha with the sukoon. So now, because the first letter is ta and it has got sukoon, we cannot pronounce it. To pronounce it, we have to bring harful mudari, right? We have to bring harful mudari. We have to bring hamzatul wasl. So we bring hamzatul wasl in place of harful mudari. Now the question is, we have alif, ta with the sukoon, ba with the dhamma, kha with the sukoon. What will be the haraka of this hamzatul wasl? Kasra, fatha, or dhamma. In this case, we will have haraka of dhamma. Why? Because our ain kalima, which happens to be ba, has got a dhamma. So hamzatul wasl will also get dhamma. Utbukh. Utbukh. For example, if there was another word, an ain kalima, ba, in this case, for example, had a fatha, we will put kasra under hamzatul wasl, because hamzatul wasl in fi'l amr will never have fatha. And for example, if we had ba with the kasra here, what would we do, sisters? What would be the haraka of hamzatul wasl? Who can tell me? Very good. It's going to be kasra. So there are only two possibilities for hamzatul wasl when it is the fi'lul amr, either kasra or either dhamma. If ain kalima has got a dhamma, hamzatul wasl of fi'lul amr will get a dhamma. If ain kalima of the verb has got kasra or fatha, hamzatul wasl of fi'l amr will get kasra, only kasra. So I hope it is clear. Qata yaqta'u. What will be the haraka of hamzatul wasl now? Very clear. Iqta, alhamdulillah. Jama'a yajma'u. How to say add, gather, how to issue a command or request. Ijma. Abada ya'budu. If you want to say if the command is there, worship. How will you say? Serve. U'bud. Nazala yanzilu is getting down or descending. If you want to say somebody, get down. Get down. How will you say? Maybe you're in the car and you reached your destination. You want to say your child, get down. How will you say? Inzil means get down. Arafa ya'rifu means to know. How will you say to somebody, know that? Arif hadha or arif dhalika, depending on what you are talking about. Akala ya'kulu. We've seen that last time. By looking at all of this, arafa, yarifu, nazala, yanzilu, what we see is only harful mudari is dropped and all three letters are transferred into fail amr. And then we simply add hamzatul wasl and our fail amr, the form of the fail amr is complete. What's happened to akala ya'kulu? Kul. You removed hamzatul harful mudari ya from here. You were left with hamza with the sukoon, kaf with the sukoon, kaf with the dhamma, and lam with the sukoon after making the changes of the second step of this year. So now you have hamza with the sukoon, kaf with the dhamma, and lam with the sukoon. Your formula tells you that you should say ukul, ukul. You will bring hamzatul wasl with the dhamma. Why? Because your ain kalima has got a dhamma. So hamzatul wasl will have a dhamma. Hamzatul wasl is light and easy. Right? You say al-kitab, al-muslim, al-muhandis, al-bayt. You see, it's very easy, layyan, so soft. But if you have a very soft letter, alif, before, in the beginning, and right after that you have hamzatul qat. Hamzatul qat is pronounced with jar, ya'kul, ya'kul. So then what we say, akul, akul, is going to be difficult. Hence, it has been removed. Hamza has been totally removed to make takhfif, to make the pronunciation light. So when you remove the hamza from here, when you remove the hamza because it was causing problem, then there is no need for you to have hamzatul wasl. Why? Because now kaf has got a dhamma. You only bring hamzatul wasl if the words from your verb, the first verb, has got a sukoon and you're not able to pronounce. But here, I hope you're getting, sisters. Just for example's sake, we said we simply remove arful mudari, and because there's sukoon, so we have to bring alif here. But when we brought the alif here and we gave the dhamma to the alif according to the formula, it became ukul, which was very difficult. So what did we do? The Arabs decided, not we, sorry. Arabs decided, okay, this is too difficult. So they removed hamzatul qat because it was getting too difficult just after the very soft letter. So when hamzatul qat is removed, Hamzatul Wasl, the reason for Hamzatul Wasl is also been removed because Hamzatul Wasl came because of Hamzatul Qat, because it has sukoon. It only came because of that. Because now Hamzatul Qat is gone with the sukoon. You don't need Hamzatul Wasl because you can still pronounce kul without adding anything. So you say kul. Kul means eat. I hope you are getting that. Look at this one before we go to do other verbs. Akhadha ya'khudhu, same pattern. Ya'kulu. Akhadha ya'khudhu, same pattern, right? So what will happen here? It's going to happen the same thing. It'll become khudh. It'll become khudh. Why? Because when you remove ya and there's a sukoon here, you brought alif of Hamzatul Wasl. You thought, okay, Ain Kalima has got a dhamma. Let me give dhamma to Hamzatul Wasl. But when you pronounce it, it became like oh khudh, oh khudh. It's very difficult. So then Arabs remove that because of the difficulty and make it lighter. So now Hamzatul Qat was gone. Along with that, Hamzatul Wasl was gone because Hamzatul Wasl was the reason for Hamzatul Qat. Because Hamzatul Qat has sukoon, hence you brought in Hamzatul Wasl. Now the reason is gone, so the resulting solution is also gone. Now you are left with kha with the dhamma and zal with the dhamma, so you can simply say khudh and everything is fine. And there are more details as well, perhaps in that, which I will do that in future lessons, right? Fa'ala yaf'alu, it will become if'al. Fataha yaftahu. How will you say open? Iftah. Daraba yadribu. Idrib. Kataba yaktubu. Uktub. Sa'ala yas'alu. Is'al. Is'al. But there is another variation which is used. Sil. Sil is also used, but here in the kitab, in this book, is'al is given, so we'll go on with is'al. Mana'a yamna'u, imna, to prevent. Yeah, right. Dhahika yadhaku, in the meaning of to laugh. How if you say to somebody laugh? Idhak, idhak. Rakiba yarkabu, the meaning is riding. Yeah, right. If you want to ask somebody to ride with you, how will you say? Irkab. Irkam ma'ana. Remember? In the Quran, in the Quran, we see Nuh alayhi salam said to his son, Irkam ma'ana. Over there, irkab, and then there was a meme. So there was the rule of tajweed, why we said irkam. But if you see it, the writing, you will find irkab and then ma'ana. Ma'ana means with us. And then this is the one we already discussed, akhadha ya'khudhu. It became khudh. So I hope it is clear, sisters, isn't it? Is that clear? And another thing is Hamzatul Amr, Hamzatul Wasl. فَلَا تَكْتُبْ فَوْقَهَا وَتَحْتَهَا عَلَامَةُ الْحَمْزَةِ. Now Hamzatul Amri, huwa here Hamzatul Wasl. Hamza in the Amr, when we say Hamzatul Wasl, what is Hamzatul Amr? When we say Hamza in the Amr, Failul Amr, which one is that Hamza? Is Hamzatul Wasl or Hamzatul Qat? Because actually speaking, you can't say Alif. Alif is something which comes in the middle. So qala, what is in the middle after qaf? Alif, right? That is alif. This we say is Hamza. There's a name, the names, isn't it? Look, this small head of sword drawn. We know a small head of sword drawn on alif or the line is called Hamzatul Wasl. If there's a neck of ain at the top or at the bottom of this line, then we will say it is Hamzatul Qad. So it's not correct to say it is alif. We say it alif just for our understanding, because if you say Hamza, then sometimes, if you're teaching somebody, they will not really get that. What do you mean by Hamza? Because maybe they're new and they don't really understand what you're saying. So you can say it's alif, but then in the end, you can tell them, look, you cannot say alif. You should not say alif. It is called Hamzatul Wasl. It's called Hamzatul Wasl. And this is the reason it is not pronounced. If you look at another reason here, qala. There's no haraka on qala. But are you still pronouncing alif, isn't it? This is alif of mad. What is the rule for Hamzatul Wasl? If there is a word before Hamzatul Wasl, then Hamzatul Wasl will become silent, right? Like here, udkhul wajlis. You will not say wa ijlis. On its own, you will say ijlis. Look, it's ijlis here. I'm sorry, I'm jumping here. Ijlis. But if together is udkhul wajlis, you don't need to pronounce Hamzatul Wasl because there's a word before that. If you say it is alif, then you are actually defining yourself. When you say qala, alif is there before, alif is there and qaf is there before. So it's not that you are saying qala and you're not reading alif. You are reading qala. So they two are different. You understand, sisters? I hope you're getting that. This is the logic. If this alif and this alif were same, then we will not omit that in pronunciation. We say qala. So this one should be Wajlis, or whatever. It's not possible actually to say, but something would be like this. You would not omit this alif in pronunciation if it was alif, but because it is hamzatul wasl, so if you begin your word with hamzatul wasl, you pronounce it. But if something else comes before hamzatul wasl, then you don't pronounce it. This is all it is. Another thing to understand is this is hamzatul wasl. So all of discussion, alhamdulillah, we understood that this is hamzatul wasl, it's not hamzatul qad. So never ever in the verbs we have studied, I'm not talking about something else. Every time I say always, I mean up to the point we have studied. So up to the point we've studied, our alif, which is coming in the beginning of the word, will always be hamzatul wasl, never be hamzatul qat. What do I mean by that? It will not have the neck of ayn drawn at the top or at the bottom. It is not going to happen. I hope it is clear. And this is what it is saying. Hamzatul amri, hamzatul waslin. Hamza of amr is hamzatul wasl. فلا تكتب فوقها أو تحتها علامة الهمزة. This is the علامة hamza, neck of ayn. So don't write at the top or at the bottom this alamatul hamza. This is what is. Ta'ammal ma yali, ponder what follows. So this is something we've done it last time as well. Uktub, this is the word, right? Uktub, read. Iqra, sorry, write. Iqra, read. Ishrab, drink. Il'ab, play. Uktub, write. Ijlis, sit. Ifham, understand. All of they are ending on sukun. But if we have another word after that, which is beginning with alif and lam, what are we going to say? Uktub ad-darsa. Iqra al-Qur'ana. Ishrab al-qahwa. Did I read right, sisters? If you think I read right, then please press 1. Once again, I'll read. Can we say uktub ad-darsa, iqra al-Qur'ana, ishrab al-qahwa? Can we say that? If you think yes, it's fine, press 1. Otherwise, please press 2. We can't say that because there's no comma. When I say uktub ad-darsa, iqra al-Qur'an, I'm breaking the sentence, and you cannot break the sentence. There's no full stop, there's no comma, there's no punctuation mark. So you still have what's the solution for this is the sukun and this is the sukun? It's called iltaqai sakinain, meeting of two vowelless letters. So the last letter of the first word has a sukun, in this case uktub, and the first letter of the second word has got a sukun, in this case here. So what do? We give kasra to the sukun of fi'lul amr here. We don't say uktub and then get stuck there. We say uktubid darsa. This ba will be joined with this dot. Uktubid darsa. Uktubid darsa. Iqra'il Qur'ana. Ishrabil qahwa. Il'abil ana. Ya Hamid. Uktub. Ya Hamidu. Uktub. Do we need to give something here to this ba? No, because the sentence says Ya Hamid uktub. There's nothing coming after uktub, so there's no problem. We can say Ya Hamidu uktub. Oh Hamid, right. Ijlis. Now here what we already discussed. Udukhul wajlis. Here we said udukhul, right? Here because hamzatul wasl is between the two words. In our eyes can see hamzatul wasl is there, but our tongue will not notice it's there. Our ears will not notice it's there. So it's udukhul wajlis. Udukhul wajlis. So if hamzatul wasl is not there, now we are not concerned what is the haraka going to be. Hamzatul wasl is going to be kasra, fatha, dhamma, though there was originally ijlis, but here hamzatul wasl is deleted in the speech, so the haraka has also automatically been deleted with the speech. So udukhul wajlis. Ifham. Qala li abi ifham. Qala li abi ifham. What's happening here? There's no alif lam coming in. The last letter of the first word has a sukun, but there's no alif lam. There is a kasra under hamzatul wasl, because what is the amr for fahima yafham? Ifham. So qala li abi ifham. My father said to me, understand. There's no iltaqai sakinain here. This alif, this hamzatul wasl has got a kasra, and ya before it has got a sukun, but it's not iltaqai sakinain because two hamzas are not meeting. I hope it is clear, right? And this is the same thing what you have seen last time as well. Ishrabil qahwa, ifhamid darsa. These examples have been repeated here. Ukhruj wal'ab. We don't say ukhruj wa'il'ab. We say ukhruj wal'ab. Lam yukassir harful jim. ولم يكسر حرف الجيم لأن ما بعده حرف ليس ساكنا. Instead there's a wow. It's not a sakin word after that. So this was the chapter. We are done with our chapter. Today we will cover a concept, Asma'ul Khamsa, right? Asma'ul Khamsa is lately coming quite a lot. Lately coming quite a lot. So 5 special nouns. What are those 5 special nouns? Abun, Akhun, Hamun, Famun, Zu. These are also called Asma'ul Sitta. Asma'ul Sitta or Asma'ul Khamsa. Most books discuss Asma'ul Khamsa except for some advanced books, because this, the one which is not being mentioned here, which is the translation something insignificant, this is not mentioned in many books, so we will not go into that. So what are those 5 special nouns and why they are called special nouns? Before that, remember, for the mu'annath, it is possible to say Tala Shamsu and Tala Shamsu, because we know Ashams is feminine, right? So for feminine, what do we say? Kharajat Fatimatu, Kharajatit Talibatu, right? We can say Kharaja Talibatu. Can we say Kharaja Talibatu? Can we say Kharaja Fatimatu? No, because that muannas is haqiqi. That is haqiqi. What is haqiqi muannas? We have seen that before. Those who give birth or eggs, right? Human beings and animals. Those who give birth and those who give eggs are called haqiqi. For haqiqi, you will add taut tanis in the verb. If the doer is from the haqiqi muannas, you will add taut tanis. If the doer is not from haqiqi muannas, it's ghair haqiqi muannas. What is ghair haqiqi muannas? Ghair haqiqi muannas is if your word does not have this giving birth and giving egg condition, right? But in Arabic, it is called muannas. So this is ghair haqiqi. This muannas is not muannas in reality. It is there because it's samai. This is how Arabs have used it. So in this case, you could have tala'atish shamsu or tala'a shamsu. For example, another example, as-sayyaratu, the car. You could say kharajat, kharajatis sayyaratu or kharaja as-sayyaratu. You can say both. There's no problem with it. And likewise, if the word is a broken plural, then also you have option. Rijal, we know is masculine. We know it's masculine. In Arabic language, it's masculine. But what is it? It is jama taksir, right? So what happened? You could say qalatir rijalu or qalar rijalu. You can say that. In the Quran, you will find examples. And I hope you understand that these things have been discussed on Telegram, but I try to bring things what we've discussed before, or there are some subtle new points which I think you are able to understand now as a whole in the class. Some sisters on Telegram, mashallah, uh, they study outside the course a lot, and they might have studied before as well. So they reach these things much earlier than the general population of the class. But nevertheless, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, astaghfirullah. I hope everybody is able to understand that, right? And we have already discussed muannas, the types of muannas. And you perhaps have also got some other notes on your groups which describes the things related to these matters. So al-asma'ul khamsa, 5 special nouns. What is special about them? We can see abun, akhun, hamun, famun, zu. Abun means father, akhun is brother, hamun is brother-in-law, basically in-laws. Famun is mouth, and zu means someone who possesses something. We have studied zu in our first chapter, I think, of this book too, right? The plural of zu is ulu, but we have studied zu, right? What is so special about them, and why is it mentioned, and how do they make any changes? So what happens with them is, as we have seen in the previous chapter, as in the same chapter, when we saw the word, let's see if it's there. Here, Aba Bakrin, Aba Bakrin. Why it is Aba Bakrin? We said after ya, if there's a mudaf mudaf construction, then the mudaf will become mansub. But we have seen mansub is done by fatha. Ya Abdullah, Ya Abdur Rahman. But here, Ya Aba Bakr. It's not just fatha, there's alif attached here. What is the reason? What kind of word is Aba? Aba is abun actually. What is it? It is abun. And here, we'll see some conditions with that, that when these words will become Asma'ul Khamsa. But first, let's look at these Arabic. These words, Abun, Akhun, Hamun, Fu, and Zu. When there are certain conditions met, which we will see now, then they will be marfu by waw. They will be mansoob by alif. They will be majroor by ya. So you will say abuka, abaka, abika. You will not say abuka, abaka, abika. If there was no wow, if it was a dhamma, what would happen? You would say abuka, ba dhamma, and then ka abuka. How sharp it is, abuka, abaka, abika, right? But here this alif, wow, and ya is making things easy. So it is abuka karimun. Your father is generous. Inna abaka karimun. Indeed, your father is generous. Da'awtu li abika. I call upon to you, or I called to your father, or I invited your father, however you want to translate it. So what happened is, in the first example, is marfu by waw. What kind of word is abuka? Is abu is mubtada and mudaf, and kaf is mudaf ilayh. Mubtada is always marfu. So it's abuka. If it was kitab, we say kitabuk, your book. So kitabu is mudaf and kitabu is mubtada and kaf is mudaf ilayh, right? Sayyaratuka. What is sayyaratuka? Sayyaratu is mubtada and it is mudaf, and kaf of damir is mudaf ilayh. Likewise here, it is abu is mudaf and it is mubtada. Mubtada is always marfu. Where is the sign of marfu? I say abu. I didn't say tanween. I can't say tanween because I'm attaching the word after that. Abu. So we know wow is the sign of rafa, and this is what is i'rabuha tarfa'u bil wawi. It is marfu by waw. وتنسب بألف, and it is mansub by alif. Inna, after inna, ismu inna is always mansub. Inna abaka kareem. Inna abaka kareemun. Indeed, your father is generous. Instead, if there was something else, masalan, your house is beautiful, you could say inna baytuka jamil. Baytaka jamilun. Because of the inna, you would change baytuka jamilun. Normal sentence, mubtada khabar, baytuka jamilun, your house is beautiful. You bring inna for tawqid, but inna is also for nasb. So inna will make ismu inna mansub. So you say inna baytaka jamilun, right? Bayta. So here you're not saying inna abaka, you're saying inna abaka. It means you are adding alif here as a sign of mansub and not the fatha. Fatha is there on the ba, but actually your mansub is shown by alif, as it is mentioned here. Watansi will be bil alif. And it becomes majroor with the ya. Majroor with the ya. So you don't say da'awtu li abika. You can't say abika, you say abika. So what is the sign of majroor here? Yeah. What is the sign of marfu in the first example? Wow. What's the sign of mansub in the second example? Alif, because there's an inna. And here, because of harf jar li, we have a sign of majroor, yeah, right? Now, but bishurud, there are some conditions for that. Here, the Arab is also given. Abuka karimun, abuka mubtada marfun wa alamatu rafi al waw. As I said to you earlier, that abun was ba with the dhamma, with the tanween was your mubtada and mudaf. But here, abuka mubtada marfun wa alamatu rafi al waw. Al waw, as we've seen, al waw. Niyabati anid dhamma. Niyabati anid dhamma means in place of dhamma, in as a deputy of dhamma, right? It's representing the dhamma. لِأَنَّهُ ism min asma'ul khamsa. لِأَنَّهُ is because. So every time there's something which is different, then you come up with this clause because. لِأَنَّهُ ism min al asma'il khamsa. Because it is a noun from those special 5 nouns. Wal-kaf mudaf ilay fi mahalli jar. Because we know mudaf ilay is always majroor, so this kaf is majroor. And why it is not showing haraka? Because it is damir, and damir are all mabni. They don't change their appearance. Inna abaka karimun. Abaka ismu inna mansub wa alamatu nasbihi al alif niyabati anil fatha li'annahu ism min al asma'il khamsa. Marartu bi abika. This is another example. I passed by your dad. Marartu means I passed by. I passed by your dad. Abika. So marartu, mim, ra and ra. Marar is a verb, tu is the file. I passed, right? We'll see this inshallah later on. What kind of verb is that, sister? Mim with two ras. Can anybody tell me? It's a type of verb we've studied. First of all, okay, think, is it a sound verb or weak verb? For weak verb, there should be alif, vav, or ya in it. Is there any alif, vav, or ya in these first three letters? Because we know this ta is for file, too, I. So, mim, ra, ra, there are no weak letters in that. So, it means it's a sound verb. Sound verb had three categories, right? Which one is this one? One was salim, other was mahmuz, and the third one was mudaf. In the mudaf, we had a repetition of the word. Here, a ra has been repeated. If you look at the mudaf, madi of that, you will find meme and then ra has put a shadda. Shadda means two ra, but here the shadda has been opened. When we will study in detail, we will see why it is open. Because sometimes in the past tense, verb will have a shadda, right? But when you come to mudare, that shadda will be opened up. So those two letters will be written separately. What's the reason? We will see that, inshallah. Don't worry about it. But this is beautiful thing to know, sisters. This is something when you will learn, you will be very, very happy that, oh, you really have actually attained some knowledge. Sometimes it's possible that one ra has got a sukoon, but the ra after has got a fatha. But situation demands you that the second ra should have a sukoon. Otherwise, you cannot speak. Otherwise, you cannot make the word. So what you do is you do the ibdal. What is ibdal? You do the naql. You take one haraka from one letter and go to another. It's not that me and you do it when we feel like. This is how the science of nahwa is. There are rules for that, and those rules are applied. Right? So you will find the same rules applied in all those kind of verbs. Anyway, coming back to this thing here. So abika ismun majrurun bil ya wa alamatu jarrihi al ya niyabati anil kasrati li'annahu ism min al asma'il khamsa. I hope you understand that. One more question, maybe, and it was actually raised before, that now we see in the lesson straight away Arabic text is coming. Leave aside anything written in English. No translation is written, nothing is written. Everything is in Arabic. How are we going to understand that? So, sisters, let me tell you one thing. What you are looking at it in Arabic right now is not the part of your lesson. It's to prepare you. When it will come in the book, it will come with English translation. But I hope that inshallah by then you would have understood that everything, all of this. And when it come in English translation, you will not even need English translation that time. By looking at the text, by listening, and now alhamdulillah you have the recording available. So if you want to revisit and see what was this point and what was that point, you can always go back. You can pause it, play it, mark it. You get these things in your resource bank, right? So you can copy it or print it or whatever you want to do it, but then you can take notes. This was the meaning and that was the meaning. This was at this point, this was discussed, and at that point, this particular thing was discussed. Which will be very useful, and gradually you will become very strong just by looking at Arabic words. You will be able to at least understand 30-40%. Believe me, if you look at the text and you understand 30-40%, you are doing excellent. If you understand 20%, like listening, you are doing very good. Gradually, your strength will increase, inshallah. Don't worry about it. So, but there are conditions. So now, my question is, word abun. Is the word abun always going to be like that? Or is there a situation where abun will have a waw for marfu, and alif for mansoob, and ya for majrur? No, there has to be conditions for all of this. This was abun. Then akhun, akhuka mujtahidun. Your brother is hardworking. So akhuka, what is akhuka? Akhuka is mubtada marfu wa alamatu rafi al waw. Waw is the alamat of raf here, right? And akhaka, alif here, between this kaf and kha is the alama of mansub. It's not the fatha, it's alif. Here, ya is the sign of majrur. There's no kasra. Right? This ya is the sign of majrur. So is this always going to be like that? No, it's not always going to be like that. It depends how are you using. So let me just go to abi first of all, right? This abuka, this waw coming in marfu will only happen if it is coming as mudaf. If the word abun is coming as mudaf and not towards ya mutakallim. Look at this here on next page. Here, abi mujtahidun. Inna abi mujtahidun. Marartu bi abi. What is happening here is, here ba is getting kasra in all these situations. There's no, first of all, understand one thing. Abi mujtahidun means what? My father is hardworking. So abi is marfu. Is mubtada marfu wa huwa mudaf, and ya is mudaf ilayh. But if it is marfu, why there's a kasra? Abi, I can't see damma abui. I don't see that. Here, inna. Ismu inna is always mansub, but how do we? Inna abi mujtahidun. Abi, ba has got a kasra. What's happening? You see, it's mansub, but we can't see any fatha. Why? Because for this rule to come in place where waw will be marfu, alif will be mansub, and ya will be the sign for majroor, this word abun, actual word is abun, remember, must be a mudaf ilay condition. And mudaf ilay must not be a ya. Look, not mudaf to ya mutakallim, which is first person. If it is attached with any of these words is attached with ya, then this condition will not apply. We've seen the word akhi. We've seen the word akhi. We not seen akhi mujtahidun, my brother is hardworking. So where is waw? Akhi mujtahidun, my brother is hardworking, is my brother is mubtada and mujtahidun is the khabar. Once again, I didn't say akhui, I say akhi, right? Where is the tanween? There's no tanween, but for we know the reason, and we will discuss again why tanween is not there. But right now the point is there's no wow. With here, akhuka mujtahidun. Why in my example I said akhi mujtahidun? Or if I say inna akhi mujtahidun, same thing. I'm not saying with alif. So what we understand is the crux is for these words, these 5 words, leave the 6th one. Especially we're talking about these 2 right now, right? Abu, abun, and akhun. For them and hamun as well, but there are conditions gets changed with all of these 5. So let's stick to these 2 first. They too, the word abun and akhun, they must come as a mudaf. One condition, they must come as a mudaf, right? And the mudaf ilayh should not be ya. It should not be my brother, my father. It should be somebody else, your father, her father, his brother, their brother. Only then this principle will apply. I know it is a little bit thing where you need to think a lot, but understand, sisters, this is now coming in the book. We have seen these words coming in the book. We have not seen the description coming. So if you have understood even a little bit, it is fine. Inshallah, in future lessons, we will keep repeating and you will have better and better and better understanding. Which topic have we done, which was a little bit complicated and we understood in first one go? No, it takes time. You can't just understand every concept straight away. Came first time, you watch a slide for 5 seconds and you understood everything. It doesn't work like that, right? So now we'll just gloss over things. I gave you a little bit of flavor of that so you can understand that there are certain things to be understand. Your mind will keep working in the background, inshallah, on those, and in few lessons you will become strong. So for all of these 5, for them to play the role where they will be marfu by waw, they will be mansub by alif, or they will be majroor by ya, instead of damma for marfu, fatha for mansub, and kasra for majroor, you have to have these conditions. For these nouns, once again, to be marfu by waw, mansub by alif, and majroor by ya, these conditions must be met. If any of the condition is missing, then you will do the i'rab in a normal condition, right? Damma for marfu, fatha for mansub, and kasra for majroor. So let's quickly have a look at these words as well. The conditions, they must be singular. So it must be singular. Abun means one person doing, not aba. Abaun is what? Is the plural, right? Haulai abaun. This will not apply here because if you say abaun, you made instead of a singular, you made a plural for that. Then harakat will be different. Maybe it will take damma as marfu and fatha as mansub and kasra as majrur or whatever. But this rule will not apply if it is not singular. Second thing, it must be mudaf. Look, this example. If it is not mudaf, if it's not a mudaf construction, if it's an individual word, then this rule will not apply. Hada abun. Hada is mubtada. Abun is the khabar. Abun has got a tanween on that. Abun. There is no such condition that we put wow. We didn't say hada abu. We can say hada abu only if abu is coming as mudaf and we are intending to say hada abu ka, abu ki, abu hu, abu ha. So if you are adding mudaf ilayh, only then you will bring wow to show the dhamma. Otherwise, you will show it by haraka hada abun. Ra'aytu aban. Right? It is mansub. And this alif is not coming from Asma'ul Khamsa. This alif is alif tanween. We have seen that before many times. Ra'aytu bilalan. Darabtu hamidan. Right? You remember hamidan, bilal, and we said after the fathatain, there'll always be tanween. So this alif is alif of tanween fathatain. This alif is not of nasb. How is nasb mafulun bihi showed here? Is by fathatain. Look at this one. Marartu bi abin. I passed by the father. Which for whose father is not mentioned? Bi abin. Marartu, I pass. Bi is harf jar and abin is father. By the way, we've discussed like some verb like bahatha yabhathu, to search, and the word an is always used. Harf jar an is always used with bahatha yabhathu. Likewise, there's a word marra yamurru, which you've seen here. Marra yamurru, it has been opened here. Marartu. Marra means to pass. So marra yamurru will always have ba. You see here, marartu bi abika. This harf jar bi is coming off this because of this word. This verb will always come up with this letter if it's coming in this meaning. Wallahu alam. Marartu bi abi, once again. So we have seen three conditions so far. The word should be singular. It cannot be abun, akhun, hamun, fu, dhu. They must be singular. They cannot be anything else. They cannot be musanna. They cannot be jama. They must be, now I'm talking about abun and akhun, especially. They must be mudaf. And the mudaf ilayh cannot be ya mutakallim. Mudaf ilayh must be anything other than ya mutakallim. And they should not be saghira. They should be mukabbara. We've studied the pattern of fu'ayil, ubayyid, tuwailib. They cannot be from that pattern. If that pattern will come, then they will not, this rule will not apply. They will not be considered as Asma'ul Khamsa. Sahih. And the last thing is about the fa. Fa basically is famun. You know famun. Famun means mouth, right? Famun means mouth, but there are two ways. You could say famun or you could say fu. If you say fa with the waw, that also means mouth, right? Or fa with the meme also means mouth. So famun meaning fu meaning famun. They both can be interchanged. So if you're talking about the mouth, but not using the letter meme, only using the this version of the word fu, khaliyatun min al meme, there's no meme, then you will deal with it in this way. Fu ka tahirun, inna fa ka tahirun. You will go by waw for marfu, alif for mansoob, and ya for majrur. But if you will add meme here, so basically if you will not use fu for mouth and use famun, then famun it has no connection with Asma'ul Khamsa. Famun will be hada famun. Hada is what? Mubtada. Famun is what? Khabar marfu. You can see that, right? So I hope it is clear, and you can go through the recording. You will get that inshallah eventually. And I hope you are all very smart. You will not take much time. And as now the examples will be coming, we will be referring to those things so you can actually revise the concept as well. Last time we were doing the continuation of our hidden and apparent i'rab, al-i'rab al-lafzi wal-i'rab al-taqdiri. Sisters, I understand we are having topics at hand, and these topics require concentration. And these topics, sometimes they will not just can be absorbed in one go. So we are taking everything light and easy. But this is apparent from the course now that you really need to revise things. You really need to go through things. Maybe sometimes you need to do a little research on the internet as well. Now you all I hope you all have Arabic keyboards. You all can do the Google search by writing Arabic words. Just write Arabic words and see what is the search result coming. Try to read. You will be, believe me, you will be able to make up most of what is written, or at least you'll be able to get some idea of what is written, and then you can discuss on the group, and from there, inshallah, you'll be able to move forward and you will be able to move ahead with that. Okay, so we have done quite a lot of things in that, and we've seen that i'rab could be lafzi or taqdiri. Lafzi is same, where you can see fatha, dhamma, kasra coming. You see dhamma coming for marfu, fatha coming for mansub, and kasra coming for majrur, or waw, alif, and ya coming in case of jama mudhakkar salim, for example, or jama muannas salim, right? But then there are some words, there is no i'rab al-lafzi, is i'rab taqdiri. Because of certain reasons, you cannot see any harakat coming there. And in those, we have seen ismul maqsoor, whereas it is written like this, Mustafa or Asa. So alif is written either in this way or that way, and there's a fatha before that, and we have already studied that why and how the i'rab will come. And then we will see ismul manqus, where ya'ul lazima is at the end and there is a kasra before this. So you see muhtadi, mawali, taraqi, al-qadi, al-jawari. Ya is coming in before ya, there's a kasra. We have seen that. Alhamdulillah, we've studied examples from the Quran as well. And then we have seen al-ismul mudaf ila ya mutakallim. This is something we just saw a while ago, but we've already studied that, so we should not have any problem. Here, when we saw this, abi mujtahidun, what is the i'rab of abi here? Who can tell me, sisters? Or at least think, or you have notebook, then write. Just scratch your mind and think, what have we seen in that one? Basically, this lesson, what is in front of you, and what we have done in the past, what we are going to continue, are connected in some way. Here it is abi. Abi is what? Abi is mubtada, marfu, and it is mudaf as well. Where is the haraka of dhamma? Where is dhamma here? Inna abi. Where is the fatha here? Ismu inna is mansub. Where's the fatha? Where's the i'rab? How will we define the i'rab? This is how i'rab was being defined. You remember, sisters? Abi fa'ilun marfu'un. In that case, it was khabarun marfu. When we saw the example just now, hadha abi. Hadha is what? Mubtada. Abi is khabar. Instead of fa'il, say khabar. Khabar marfu, alamatu rafihi. Same i'rab will be gone there. وعلامة رفعه الضمة المقدرة على ما قبل ياء المتكلم منع من ظهورها اشتغال المحل بحركة المناسبة. In English we said that, and once again, that it is marfu, but the dhamma is muqaddara. Why? Because every letter can only have one haraka. You can have a letter with either fatha or kasra or dhamma or sukun. You cannot have a letter with the fatha and kasra both. How are you going to pronounce? Right? So the space for the vowel sign has taken up by munasaba. What is munasaba? Munasaba means something appropriate. What is appropriate to ya? Kasra. So ya dragged the haraka of the letter before that and made it majroor. There's a little disclaimer here. There is a multiple opinions on that. Right? So when we say here in this case, when it is majroor li abi, some ulama say that this kasra is for, this is showing the majroor. There's no muqaddara. It's not hidden here. It is apparent, and this is that. And some ulama say, no, this kasra is there because of this ya. This ya has dragged this kasra down. Otherwise, because this ya is dragging this kasra all the way around, everywhere it drags it down, it has nothing to do with the majroor. But this is just a discussion among the scholars. It is good for you to know these things. And really, this is no effect. You go with this one or that one, is both same. Ibn Malik is a very, very famous grammarian, and so is Ibn Hisham. So they both sometimes differ on certain things. One say, I think this is right. Another thing, no, I think this is right. But these differences at this stage really doesn't matter which opinion you take. So we'll go with the opinion what the book is telling. But when you progress in the language, when you progress up to the point where you have Arabic texts in front of you and you are trying to find a Islamic ruling out of that, you want to understand a fatwa, then these things comes handy. right? We will not be able to give fatwa like that. That requires a lot of things, huge skills. But when you read fatwa, and when the ulama is comparing, this is the kasra and it means this, and this is the kasra, it means that, then at that time, if you know that, then you'll be able to appreciate the beauty of Arabic language, and you'll be able to appreciate the arguments of both sides. Now, so today we will have to be, I thought we will do that, but we are out of time now. And as you see, I try to now finish the class within time frame, so nobody has got any grievances. So what do you think, sisters? Shall we do it today, or shall we leave it for the next class? Because this is going to take some time. One reason is this is weak words, and today we have seen fail amr. Fail amr, if we bring fail amr here, then you will see more information coming. So if you want to go ahead with this slide, it has got 2 topics, then please press 1. If you think we should leave it for the next class, and we have done enough for today, and sisters are losing the concentration, then we will do it in next class. So please give me some feedback in the chat window. If you want to do it now, press 1. If you want to leave it for the next class, inshallah, then press 2, please. I'll wait for some responses, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll do next time. No problems. We'll do it next time. So we'll be fresh in our concentration and understanding, and we'll try to do it, inshallah, next time. So Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for attending the class, sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. Ameen. So we'll end the class now, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.